I'm going to have to bring up cat urine. I've been speaking with the FBI for the last 25 years, figuring out who's behind poisoning kids on schoolyards, and cat urine is going to be the answer.
On August 22nd, Timothy Green was in the throes of a mental health crisis. And as reported by the Olympia News Network, the police had been made aware of his diagnosis on August 20th, just 2 days prior to him being shot and killed by police.
I have a lot of friends in this area, and I think that the majority of my friends would tell you that they don't call the police because the risk of calling the police outweighs the risk of not calling the police.
I was going to speak in Tacoma, but I really don't care about that really ugly city. This is kind of nice right in here.
August 22nd, Timothy Green was shot 3 times in the chest and killed by an OPD officer. The department guaranteed mistrust almost immediately.
They're gonna cut the lines on the oceans. This is why I'm here, for the ocean and the kids. They're gonna cut the lines. It's called the kill line, and that'll put raw crude oil on the ocean. They nuke it, and then there's radiation on oil. You know how long it'd be before we got rain? Maybe never again.
The police auditor here in Olympia has reviewed 37 cases and found 0 instances of wrongdoing. Only in Olympia do we have a perfect police force.
Timothy Green should be alive, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about
cat urine.
So we're going to now move into public comment. Our first online speaker, and that's Tom Crawford.
Thank you, Mayor Selby and members of the council. I have a brief statement I'd like to make. I sent that out to you individually as well earlier today, so you can have a record of that. One moment, please, while I sort out some technical stuff here. Here we go. So again, my name is Tom Crawford. I'm board chair and president of Thurston Climate Action Team. I first want to congratulate the city for achieving that great gold designation from the National Soul Smart program. Your work on making it easier for local residents to install solar panels will encourage folks to increase our energy independence while addressing the climate crisis. In line with that work, I strongly support this evening's referral that calls for staff research on the best legal and viable option to provide a revenue stream dedicated to achieve the city's adopted climate goals and to address its stated climate emergency. In my email to some of you, I wrongly characterized this as a referral from the Land Use and Environment Committee, and I realized that was an error, so my apologies for that error. It's widely recognized by international bodies working on climate change that local action is essential to keeping our greenhouse gas emissions below catastrophic levels. We are today seeing that what catastrophic means. As the referral points out, excuse me, I've got 26 seconds left. Is that what that says? Okay. So finally, recognizing that creating a revenue stream dedicated to climate action may require voter approval, I and other TCAT volunteers stand ready to support any community education efforts needed to ensure local residents understand the importance of and substantial benefits from investing in clean energy and other climate solutions. Thank you for your work on this vital issue and your willingness to make the hard choices necessary to address this emergency.
Thank you. Craig Sheets.
How you doing? It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Been speaking about threat against the water. Coastal ports are a big problem. I was going to speak in Tacoma, but I really don't care about that really ugly city. This is kind of nice right in here. So, and you'd take the nuclear blast more than they would, believe it or not. The circle, it gets worse as it goes out. So there's 13 nukes at every port. They're not attacking us. They're going after the resources. They're going after the forest. They're going after the water. I just got back from Lake Michigan. They got cargo ships on those Great Lakes. That's our biggest water bodies. And then again, the Columbia River is the biggest river flowing into the ocean. I'll be down in Vancouver real soon. I'm going to have to bring up cat urine. I've been speaking with the FBI for the last 25 years, figuring out who's behind poisoning kids on schoolyards, and cat urine is going to be the answer. It's also the answer to the fire. Fire and water don't mix. I know the chief over there knows that electricity and water don't mix. I'm sure he didn't get to his position by being stupid. So I'm water. So it's paws off. And they're gonna cut the lines on the oceans. This is why I'm here, for the ocean and the kids. They're gonna cut the lines. It's called the kill line, and that'll put raw crude oil on the ocean. They nuke it, and then there's radiation on oil. You know how long it'd be before we got rain? Maybe never again. Your forest would be gone, and there's a hot shot train I want you people to look at in this pamphlet that I've been speaking about. It's nuclear as well. They can park these containers anywhere. You got a Geiger counter, Suzanne. I want that to go to the chief of police. Geiger counter finds radiation. There's also a scintillation device that's stronger than a Geiger counter. And I appreciate the time to speak.
Thank you.
Cat urine.
Next, I have Cale Moffett.
In its strategic plan, the OPD stated that its mission is to consistently earn the trust of the residents and visitors to our community. The vision statement asserted that the department hopes to be respected and trusted by our community. While these are admirable ideals, the department is not living up to it. August 22nd, Timothy Green was shot 3 times in the chest and killed by an OPD officer. The department guaranteed mistrust almost immediately. The shooting took place shortly after 11:30 a.m. At 11:36, the department tweeted quote, officers were treated at the scene for injuries. This lie was walked back by the department 2 days later on August 24th. Who posted that tweet? And why did the department let that go unchallenged for 2 days? Other details of the case are problematic as well. The officers reported that Green threatened them with a knife, yet witnesses told Cairo 7 reporters that they did not see a knife. One witness said, "I just saw a shirt in his hand, that's all." Another said, "We saw the whole provokement. We never saw a knife. All my coworkers saw it too. They never saw a knife." Investigators said later that a folding knife was found at the scene. Where was the knife in relationship to the body? And were 4 officers mortally threatened by a pocket knife? The department has further eroded public trust by being so close-lipped about the details. The coroner released the name of the victim, which was Timothy Green, not suspect. The department did not release the names of the officers involved until 2 weeks later after a public records request was filled. This kind of silence, along with the lie about the officers being treated for injuries and the conflicting claims about the knife, neither engender nor encourage public trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Jenna Kemp.
Timothy Green should be alive, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about an accountability crisis. My name is Jenna Kemp, and I've lived in Olympia for over 20 years. I have a lot of friends in this area, and I think that the majority of my friends would tell you that they don't call the police because the risk of calling the police outweighs the risk of not calling the police. That is an accountability issue. I recently shared with my friends the number for crisis response. The response that I got was that we should not call that number because it's just police dispatch, and they will send police and the police will arrive first. That is an accountability issue. On Friday morning, I was driving up 4th Avenue from downtown. I saw a lot of flashing lights in the area of 4th Avenue and Boundary Street. Many police vehicles were converging at this location. As I got to the location, a police car stopped right in front of me, and I watched police get out with their weapons. As I tried to drive around, I saw a man on the ground in a bus shelter with 4 or 5 officers on top of him. I immediately stopped my vehicle. As I looked around to take in the bigger picture, I noticed that there were at least a dozen other citizens that had also stopped everything that they were doing to witness this event. Many were taking videos on their phones. One of the witnesses expressed to me that they thought that the amount of witnesses there had an effect on how the police behaved. This is an accountability issue. I don't know that my words here will make any difference. When I attend these meetings, we're always reminded that we have 2 minutes to speak and that the council does not have to acknowledge us. It's quite difficult to watch the council tongue-tied after a man lost his life, while conversely, the Olympia Police Department is free to tweet details about these events moments after they occur. This is an accountability issue. When you add these issues together,
you.
this is a crisis.
Thank you. Next, I have Derek Ball.
On August 22nd, Timothy Green was in the throes of a mental health crisis. And as reported by the Olympia News Network, the police had been made aware of his diagnosis on August 20th, just 2 days prior to him being shot and killed by police. Despite the fact that OPD already knew that Timothy Green had a history of mental illness, the crisis response unit was not dispatched on August 22nd. I'm asking the City Council, who said they're interested in getting answers, to start here. Currently, when a 911 call comes, police officers reviewing calls ultimately decide if crew should be dispatched or if an officer should be dispatched. I believe that this is a major breakdown in the system. Police cannot be in charge of deciding who deserves the crisis response team and who doesn't, just as they should not be allowed to decide who deserves to live or die. So this is what I'm asking council to do. I'm asking that the City Council meets this crisis by immediately shifting its budgetary priorities from the OPD to the crisis response unit so that we can have a fully functioning response unit 24 hours, 7 days a week. We also need to immediately change the way that we dispatch first responders so that crew is dispatched to all calls so that they are able to properly de-escalate volatile situations and be compliant with state law. We also need to make crew truly independent from the chief of police, just as our fire services and medical services are independent entities. And the city also needs to start an educational campaign to inform the public and especially service workers how to specifically request a crisis response unit to be dispatched. We all learned 911 when we were kids. Now it's time for the city to teach the public CRU. On August 22nd, Timothy Green needed help. Instead, he got the cops, who were wholly unprepared to handle this situation. Had someone like crew responded instead, it's very likely he could be alive today. Thank you.
Thank you. And last we have Talana Reed.
The video with Jackson threw me off. I agree with solar energy. And I think that we should also look into providing removable solar panels for renters and so that they can be a part of, climate change. Anyway, really quickly, I wanted to respond next week about last week's comment made by Mr. Cooper regarding the police auditor being utilized as an independent investigator. I and other members of the public, along with the Green family, disagree. The police auditor here in Olympia has reviewed 37 cases and found 0 instances of wrongdoing. Only in Olympia do we have a perfect police force. I don't think that that's possible. I think that we need a truly independent investigation and not to utilize the police auditor. And next I want to speak to Dante. I was so excited, not to you, but about Dante's comment last week regarding a public meeting regarding Black folks in the community having a meeting regarding public safety. Mayor Selby, you said that you advised your staff to make this information regarding the meeting public or available to the public. That didn't happen. I've looked all over the City of Olympia website and other websites myself, nor any other Black members of the community that I'm associated with knew how to access this meeting. I think that's unacceptable. I think that if we want to really reimagine public safety and be inclusive and hear from all voices and have folks at the table, we need to make it accessible to people. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for staff or comments for the public? Councilmember Payne?
Yes, good evening, everyone. And thank you to everyone who spoke tonight at public comment. I do want to just respond very quickly about that. I am aware of the fact that that the information was not posted. And so you are correct, and we will do better.
Mayor Pro Tem Gilman.
So perhaps either Councilmember Payne or staff has that meeting been scheduled now? Will it be posted? What's coming next?
So my understanding is that that meeting has already taken place on September 19th.
Okay. All right. It will not be the last meeting, though. I understand that Stacey Ray is working on at least one more meeting this fall.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor. Just for the record, Rich Hoy, Interim Assistant City Manager. I spoke with Stacey Ray. She is planning another listening session for the reimagining public safety process. It has not been scheduled yet, but it will be soon, and we'll be putting that information out just as soon as it's scheduled.
Okay, thank you. All right, Councilmember Nguyen.
Thank you for everyone that came in public comment tonight. I'm not sure if Tom is still on the line or not, virtually. Tom, we've been getting a lot of public comment through email about the opportunity to have more sustainable funding for climate, hopefully climate solutions. And thank you for you and your organization always persisting on this one. I'm really looking forward to supporting it tonight and every opportunity I have. To me, sort of a no-brainer. It took a lot to get there, but I look forward to continuing to support climate efforts. As well to everyone that spoke about Timothy Green. It is wonderful and unfortunate that we have community members that care so much that come and talk and give public comment and give us feedback about what ought to be done, and also take the time to really go through and track the moments when you've been disappointed. It is wonderful and it is unfortunate. I am continuing to ask questions. I think many of us are, and trying to figure out what we can do with the situation that's already occurred. I agree, Talana, with the police auditor. As well, our police auditor, while she's very skilled, she's also not sort of uniquely trained to handle this type of, well, I shouldn't say handle, but to really work on this type of investigation anyhow. So that wouldn't be the right move. I also, anyways, I guess more on that in some other time about the police auditor, but we are continuing to have conversations and meeting, however way we can. This is one of those situations where it's, you are told that you can't say certain things, and also we are still waiting for more information. We are taking steps to try to figure out what more we can do while the Office of Independent Investigation is still underway. Also, we or some members of the council, I should say, will be meeting with the Green family. And I just share that because it's we are listening. We are listening, and we are trying to figure out what we can do given this really unfortunate situation, and how we can reduce these things from happening in the future. There's really no words that give it justice, and we're trying to figure out how we can do better. Thank you.
Councilmember Payne.
Yes, I also just wanted to speak to this, your comment about using the police auditor. And I just want to take this time to remind everyone that we, as in the community and the state by and large, have requested that we have independent investigations. So that means that the police auditor is not the most suitable person to do that, nor anyone who is employed by the city of Olympia. That is not an independent investigation. So what that means is we need to figure out a better way on how to have a truly independent system. What we have now is better than what we had. So how can we improve upon that is the question at hand. And hopefully the state can facilitate or lead in that direction by taking on some of these cases, which in my mind would be another step, even further distance between local jurisdictions conducting the investigations.
Councilmember Nguyen.
Sorry, it's the last one. As well, since you brought up the funding part of it, Councilmember Payne, is that currently, even if the city were to conduct I'm going to say additional independent investigation, because technically it is seen as independent. But then, of course, the city would pay for it. So then would it be, would the community and would the family trust that if the city's paying for it? But then it goes into, that's sort of like a logistical thing. So then who pays for it, right? And so these are questions that we're asking, and there's not an answer right now.
All right. Moving on.
Hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching.